Hey, how's it going? Vladimir Donis here. So, hey, if you're watching this via my YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe. There's a subscribe button somewhere on this page. And if you listen to this via my podcast, please go ahead and subscribe as well. So, hey, today is day number 6 of my bite-sized video series. So, day number 6 of my bite-sized video series. If you haven't watched the previous videos, you can go ahead and watch the previous videos. So, today, essentially, what I want to talk about is I want to talk about a specific concept that will basically give you a quick boost in sales for your MLM business. So essentially, I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about, the blame. So in this specific instance, should the blame be on the person that is doing the sales? Should it be the salesperson, or should the blame be, via your marketing? The way that I came about this specific concept is that I want to say about a year ago via my meetup. I was teaching a meetup, and I had, a good number of students that had showed up in that for that specific day. And one of the individuals kind of just stood out. Now, this person stood out because this person was asking me a lot of different questions and was just extremely, extremely engaged. He was one of the more engaged individuals in the meetup. And then after the meetup, he was like, you know what? Hey, Vladimir, your content's not too bad. Can I take you out to lunch? I was like, okay, no problem. I want to take you out to lunch because I want to pick your brains a little bit more, and I want to see if we can work together. So essentially, this individual was working for an insurance company. This insurance company had been around for, I want to say, about 10 years, and he was one of the more tenured person. He was the most tenured person in the company. He had basically started working for the company from start all the way up until about the 10-year time frame at the time. And he said, you know what, the partners had trusted in him for him to kind of just go out and learn some marketing strategies, so that way he can kind of just bring some of the marketing strategies into the organization. He mentioned to me that, as of that time, what they were doing is that they were working with lead generation company, and those specific lead generation companies were sending them leads, and they were working those leads in that specific instance. Their goal is that they wanted to go ahead and bring those leads in-house and see if they can do some of the lead generation strategies on their own. He said, you know what, Vladimir, this was after the fact because, I decided to go to lunch with him. He was like, you know what, Vladimir, it seemed as though the quality of the leads is not getting any better. It's either the market, it's either the salespeople or the marketing. But he said, you know what, something's just not working. And he was like, I want to kind of put my fingers on it. It seemed as though, at the beginning, we were getting leads, and these leads were a lot more easier to convert. And nowadays, these leads are a lot more difficult, to convert. I don't know what it is, but my company and I, one of the things we want to do is we want to go ahead and start bringing some of the digital marketing and some of the stuff in-house. But he said, you know what, I have a problem. In order for me to bring this stuff in-house, I need to learn as much about marketing as possible. Hence why he came to my meetup as a starting point, and then moved along the process that way. So that was the thing he wanted to do. So my question to him was, okay, you want to bring your marketing in-house. Tell me a little bit more about your company. Okay, so your company's been around for about 10 years. This is an insurance company. They sold home insurance. They also sold auto insurance. What is your company known for? So he said, you know what, we thrive. This was in a local area, in a local West Palm Beach area. He said, you know what, we thrive to be one of the best in our local area. In fact, we've gotten many different accolades from some people, from some companies, and from other third-party organizations that's basically highlighted some of the things that we've done over the years. He said, you know what, year in and year out, we thrive to be a leader in that specific region. He said, in fact, if you go to this specific source, this source will tell you back in 2013 that we were number one for 6 months in a row for X category. We also did this for X category. And if you compared us from a price to value standpoint, this specific agency said we do this and we do that. So he had all of these different accolades that, his company had gotten over the years. And I was like, you know what, that is a very, very good thing, that, the fact that your company has been highlighted. He was like, yeah, it's a good thing, but, that doesn't necessarily seem to be giving us the clout and or the leverage we need to be able to kind of just convert more leads. It's like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I can see how that can definitely be a challenge. I was like, I can see how that can be a challenge for you. I was like, you know what? There's some things that currently that you are not leveraging that perhaps you could be leveraging. We started to talk more about the salespeople. So he was telling me that, all of the accolades, all of the many different things that, that they've done over the years, they make sure that the salespeople mention that in their script. So when they get a lead, the lead comes in and the salesperson starts to kind of just communicate with that lead, they make sure that the salesperson highlight all of those different things for the sole purpose of saying, hey, this is how we are different from the competition. just so the salespeople, they're just so the prospect can see that they're dealing with a company that has integrity, a company that strives to be the best, so on and so forth. I told them, you know what, that is not necessarily the right strategy. The salesperson should be saying these things, but your customers or your prospects should know this stuff well before they arrive to the salesperson. So essentially, this is what I need. It's a 3-step process that I mentioned to him that he should implement, that he should implement into his business, and you should implement that as well. Because what's going to happen is that well before the individuals arrive to the sales process, you need to go ahead and make sure that your marketing is a little bit more on point. Specifically, if you have any type of highlights, any type of accolades, there's some things that you should be doing with your marketing, well ahead of time. And these are those things. So there's 3 things that you should be doing. So in this specific instance, they should create a review site. Basically, what the review site is going to do, the review site is going to serve as a third-party website that they own, whereby they highlight all of their accolades and they compare everything they've done to the industry. So in that specific industry, they can talk about how they are a leader in that specific industry. They can highlight all of the different things that they've done. And because they own and control that specific website, right, at the end of the website, they can go ahead and have a call to action and generate a lead. So now what is that going to do? What that's going to do is that by the time that lead arrives to the salesperson, by the time the lead arrives and they're having a conversation with the salesperson, that person, the individual that became that lead, has already been pre-framed. That individual already knows all of the great things about that specific organization, and thereby, when it's time for the salesperson to have the conversation, it's a lot easier for the salesperson to convert that specific individual, because now all of a sudden it's not the salesperson that's saying that, hey, we're great with this, with that, with that. The salesperson is a little biased, right? So it's not the salesperson that's saying this. It is a independent review site that's owned by you as the organization. You own the review site, and you're not necessarily misleading them because you're highlighting all of the things that you've done, but you're sending your lead through a filter. Because when you generate a lead online, you control what happens to that lead. So if you send a lead to a review site, you highlight everything that you've done, you generate a lead after the fact. Now that lead has been pre-framed. It's like, oh my gosh, this company has done X, Y, and Z. Look at how they compare in this category, look how they compare in this category, in that category. They are a leader in their market. So now when it's time for them to talk to the salesperson, they already know this. They know this from an independent review site, and it's not your salesperson that's selling that to them, because your salesperson could be biased, right? So you see how this specific strategy can definitely give you a huge boost in your sales, and it's going to make it so that way your salesperson, right? The blame is not necessarily your salesperson in this specific instance. Your marketing is a lot more up to par, and you've done the marketing work ahead of time, so that way when it's time for your salesperson to have a conversation, it's much easier for your salesperson to go ahead and have the conversation. One of the things that I'm doing, my partner design, is that we're hosting a free webinar. The goal of the webinar is to show you 2 things. It's an hour to an hour and 30 minutes long webinar with 2 goals. Goal number 1 is to show you how to generate a lead, and goal number 2 is to show you how to turn that lead into a customer. Okay, there's going to be a link somewhere on this page. You can go ahead and click on the link, and the link is going to go ahead and allow you to register for the webinar. The other thing that I'm doing as well is that if you want to work with me one-on-one, if you want me to be your business coach, if you want me to go ahead and create a marketing funnel for you from start to finish, there's going to be a link on this page as well that will allow you to go ahead and indicate to me by way of sending me a message and say, hey, Vladimir, I'd like to know more about your coaching services, or I would like to know more about how you and your team could go ahead and build me a marketing funnel from start to finish. So you're going to have 2 different links, one link for the training, one link for done-for-you services / coaching services. Both of those links is going to be somewhere on this page, whereby you can go ahead and click on the link depending on which one of those things works best for you. So hey, that is my time, video number 6 of video 30. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.